Joy Prime Television. And of course, if you're watching us on social media, it is at Joy 99.7 FM or Joy Prime. The hashtag is Showbiz RoundTable. This is a special edition of Showbiz A to Z, coming to you live from the beautiful La Beach Hotel. And we're here with everybody. The entire panel is going to be here. The family is going to be here. GH Industry is going to be here. And we've got a very, very important conversation for you.
So I'll start on the global scale, the outlook. So if you look at 2022, music streaming alone, the revenue projection is at $31.7 billion.
Wow.
That's the value of just music streaming globally. Now, if you project by 2027, that is supposed to move from $31.7 billion to $44.9 billion. Now, let's make some comparative analysis. So we know Ghana as a country, we intend to raise somewhere around 100.5 billion Ghana cedis as revenue, total revenue from cocoa, from gold, everywhere. That's 100.5 billion Ghana cedis. But usually when you're talking about Ghana, it is fair you talk about Nigeria as well because, you know, and because of the jollof and other things that we all compare ourselves to. So I want us to compare Ghana and Nigeria, what we are getting from music streaming. So 2022, Nigeria is getting $11 million. Ghana is getting $1.22 million. If we project to 2027, Nigeria will be getting 19.97 million. From music streaming, we will be getting 1.9. So I just want you to look at the variance between what Nigeria is actually getting and then what Ghana is also getting. There's a huge height or variance between what Ghana is getting and then what Nigeria is also earning.
Now let me start dealing with my topic. We have various royalties, different types of royalties. Royalties that comes from collective management organizations such as GAMRO, we call it performing rights. It is one aspect of royalty. And then we have royalties that come from streaming. And let me explain this. Before digitization, we used to sell cassettes and CDs. So if you had finished your work and then you have given it to a distributor or a record company or executive producer who produced you, will go and manufacture the cassette and the CDs, and as he sells, he pays you, the artist, your royalties. That money comes to you and your manager direct. It doesn't go through any collective management organization. And it is this that has become the streaming and the digital platform. On the digital platform now, nobody is selling physical fixated cassette or CD. Though in Europe they are still selling, but the streaming is going up. So the monies that you were supposed to have been gotten from record sales, now you are getting it from streaming. But then that is another form of royalty. Then there's another one that we call publishing. Publishing has to deal with this exploitation of the song. Because before a song is recorded, it has been given birth to. Because as you decide to go to studio, what are you going to record? There is a song before you go to record. So as you're going to record, is in a studio that you are going to determine the commercialization of the music, either you are recording it in jazz or Afropop or reggae or whatever, depending on the market.
So now we have a full house. Unfair gender balance, though, but it's all right. We've got women in our auditorium, so we are happy to have them here.
When we go beyond the studio and enjoying music, and I can understand that Uncle Punji is a very passionate person when it comes to music, so obviously he's talking from being a music lover and being an African. He's a Pan-African. But the truth is, we're talking about culture capital. We are also talking, and that's what the world is discussing now. And so it is intentional, the same way South Korea is trying to push K-pop. Look, I don't think that the Nigerians, like we hate to say it, I don't think they are unintentional about their drive and everything.
Very
so I agree that,
sir?
no, I agree that we shouldn't always be whining and yeah, because that one everyone gets tired. But I also say that let's also be intentional, and that brings Sadiq's point about policy. To push a kind of policy that favors the Ghanaian creative to the point where he's not broken, and I'm not talking about emotions, I'm talking about even from an investment point of view. For instance, Ras was talking about logins. Logins will affect a lot of musicians if we continue, if we do not guide music play on radio. Ghanaian musicians. Why?
But
I just want to learn. I just want to learn. Why I say that is because, for instance, when a station that I used to work with gave it to a South African management before the Ghanaians took over, we had a radio play policy. They brought in a policy. They also brought in a compulsory playlist to be submitted by every DJ. They also brought in a folder where all music will be dumped in, and you cannot play outside that folder. So that was how they were logging at the time, because it was a manual way of logging, because the automated one wasn't there. And I realized that we sort of have the power to also control what the listener listens to. Because at a point in a week, you can hear one particular song a number of times. And they gave us days where we were to play Ghanaian music. And I remember there was a time my DJ actually said, Charlie, to come to think of it, Ghanaians get songs too.
You also need to understand where certain things are headed. Even if you create all these things, you started with a preamble about South Africa and all of these things. It doesn't just happen. Key point that all of us haven't focused on was the fact that in that year when Touch It came, it was one of the marketing behind it, the rollout strategy was the most effective and the best, because it was also led by the likes of Empire. So that's the point. Even if you do not know these things, you're able to see that how many people are releasing with a rollout strategy. What is a rollout strategy? Where is it? What is the conversation you're having? Like I said, a lot of things have changed. It's shifted. Gone were the days where you could just drop it and wait on vibes and inshallah, and then you get a hit. Lately, it's engineered. Things, it's engineered. You need to have a rollout strategy for the month, in 2 months. You need to have, if you are going to engage influencers, taste makers, all of these things are done. These people that you're consistently focused on and having conversations. That's exactly what it is. You know the reason why they are not focused on you and having the conversations? Because they recognize the business potential of it. And so before, I just showed an info sheet to Panji of an album. There's a part of it that details a couple of things. I can just actually even go there and you could actually see beyond the videos, the number of videos you're about to release, and the marketing budget and all of those things. It has everything. How many people are, and I can understand that it's always become, they say that issue of the money, but think about it this way. Sometimes it's not the money. You have to decide that I'm willing to give off a bit of my estate to somebody if I can't pay the person. If you're sitting with Rudy, for instance, and having a conversation, you have a catalog that you want to take it to a certain destination. You can't pay him. Okay, how about having a conversation or agreeing to the fact that he can own a piece of the economic rights by doing ABCD and signing it. And today, you can't run away from it, because if he has his publishers and he has his aggregators, they will track it. The earnings will come to him. Unlike before, where you sign a contract and run away. No.
The other thing is I also want to turn my guns on all of us, the practitioners. You made a beautiful summary on all the infrastructure that is. Please understand this. Government is an enabler.
Exactly.
If they don't understand, then we need to make government understand.
Thank you.
Without mentioning names, there was some big corporation that was looking to a big showpiece project, 2021, 2022, yes. And one of the things was, should we build a massive arena and do name rights? The National Theatre is falling apart. I am quite sure, and this is where it comes in about knowing what it is, because if the National Theatre can actually give me the stats for the last 3 years, footfalls, what is gained, you will probably discover that they get more people walking in there than some of the malls. And yet they don't sell anything. It's not a retail center. And people sit there, and the number of hours they spend there is higher than when you go to the malls. So maybe that could be worth something to a bank that says that, okay, I'm going to underwrite this project. You're going to build it, and I have naming rights for 30 years. We've seen it happen here. Stanbic Heights was not built by Stanbic. It was financed by Stanbic. A project was created. They went there. They had a conversation, and Stanbic says, okay, we'll put up the financing. Part of the financing, naming rights, automatically comes to us. They don't own the building. They finance the building. It's a whole project. They're paying off. It is possible. But we need to start being intentional about some of these things. The university, the one thing every retail brand ever, and if you run an agency before, campus invasion, let's go. Why? Because there's 50,000 people you put in a certain space that stay there for 90 days at a time, and they have really nothing to do. And the top of mind awareness you reach, how much money do brands put into marketing to students? You can't tell me that we have to be intentional about it.
Solid point there.
I'm here to tell anybody that stop believing. That is what is. That is what is, because we are not interested in growing anything in this country. But I can tell anyone who cares to listen that nothing will compare with the creative sector if we are given the right attention. Nothing. No sector, not cocoa, not gold, not oil, nothing.
That's it.
Nothing. At any rate, we have already heard of rejection of our cocoa. Gold, what's gold doing to our environment? You said you went around and you almost cried. I know that last thing that made you cry, it had to be a woman, but...
Panji, I'll start with you again. And on that, recently we had a Global Citizens Festival celebrated right here in Ghana. Thanks to people like Rudy, Afro Nation was in Ghana in 2019 and is coming back this year. All the numbers that were shown there had a direct correlation and connect to music in one way or the other.
The arts.
The arts in general.
I would say a lot of it, but Ghana also has quite a bit of cultural tourism. The cultural tourism is connected to music in many ways, but yes, 100% events like Afro Nation, you know, those events, Global Citizen. I met people at Global Citizen who'd come from Ivory Coast, come from Burkina Faso, come from Nigeria. So events like that do draw, and we know from Afro Nation, 2019, I think they had almost 8,000 or 10,000 people who flew into the country specifically for the event. So there are not many things which can drive that many people to go somewhere. Because if I get up and I'm going somewhere, usually it's because of the nature, maybe the beaches, the mountains, you know, nature and landscape, or you are going because of history and religion, or you are going because of culture and, you know, entertainment, or, you know, you are going for the activities. So these are the things that will make me get up from my house and go somewhere. Or funerals. In Ghana, funerals, and I know people have said it and we think it's a joke, but funerals is one of the primary reasons for tourism in Ghana. Me, I call it death tourism.
Nothing works here. Nothing works here. So, I feel so happy that nothing works, but our musicians here are making magic. Yeah, nothing works. So I am not so cool of even releasing. I organize events, so I know what goes in. I don't jealous people who organize events.
Times are changing, and the artists are coming to the realization they need knowledge. So when we shared this showbiz thing, and I got here and I saw the guys here, I was like, yeah, we're getting there. Robert was just whispering to me, tell them that when you do it, they don't come.
Yeah.
That is the truth of the fact. So you see,
it comes back to the individual responsibility I spoke about.
that's the point.
Because you find the platforms.
It is high time. It is high time artists realize that the music business is changing. It's changed from the days when all you needed to do was the song, and then labels. We used to have Polygram, all those companies here. It's changed. Now the responsibility, and I've heard people talk about responsibility here, lies in the hands of the artist.
You are entering into music business. They told you that you have a talent. That is talent. You can sing. Yes, that is voice. If you want to sing, go and join the choir. Otherwise, if you are entering into the music business, Charlie, understand that it is business. And some have summed it up neatly for us. People who have gone ahead are telling us that, look, you are not a music business. You are the business. Like, Jay-Z said it, he couldn't have said it right. I mean, I'm not a businessman, I'm the businessman. You understand? And Kanye has reiterated it. It's been said over and over again. If you are going to function as an independent artist, it means you are an independent business.
Thank you all very much for embracing this and for making it possible for us to see this day. I am very excited, and I promise that we are going to do more. And I pray and hope that the change we all seek and we are all so passionate about, the ones that rest on us, we will do them. But the one that rests on the policymakers also, we pray and hope that they are listening and they will make it happen for us. Thank you very much.